Well, hey there, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You may remember on this channel that about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I started a video series. I made a video called Personal Pep Talks, and I really liked making that video, and I feel like a lot of you guys liked it. I don't have many subscribers, but I know that the few that I do have are some really good people, and I really appreciate you guys watching my videos and sticking with me. So this is going to be episode 2 of the Pep Talk series, and the last one was called Purgatory. In that video I kind of talked about the concepts of how we put ourselves in a mental purgatory in life, and we don't let ourselves be happy or enjoy life because we feel like we're missing something in life. And so now, branching off of that last video, the next in the sequence is going to be about war and warfare and the concept of war, and how I apply it to my life, how it applies to reality, how we can use it to get leverage on our realities and bend reality to our will. Now, you might hear that right off the bat and think, oh, this guy's, full of BS. He's just one of these BS motivational speakers. He's going to tell me something impractical, something that I can't use, just a bunch of nonsense. But this technique that I use and these concepts that I apply are very practical, and I've used them many times, and they really work for me. They really help me. They help me get what I want out of life, and they help me to deal with really challenging, difficult struggles that we all have in our lives. And this is a really cool trick. This is a really great hack. So here it is. Now, you can use this technique for any problem that you come across in your life, just little issues here and there. But it's really going to work the best if you use it for these big, life-altering, very challenging problems, that come up, the ones that feel like they have no solution. Now, like I touched on already, many people, not all people, but many people out there will have an initial reaction, sort of a subconscious, automatic, instinctual reaction to these problems or these events, these life-changing events, that happen that we don't want them to happen, but they happen anyway. People will instinctually feel defeated. They'll feel scared. Those are all the initial responses. A little bit further down the line, comes the sadness. A little bit of hopelessness. Depression. All those things. All of those reactions are, like I said, involuntary, and they're going to happen without us having to burn calories of energy even thinking about it. They're just going to happen. It's instinctual. But what I've done and what I've learned how to do over many years, probably about 5 years now, I've really been working on this, is my initial response, my involuntary response when one of these things happens, is I will immediately declare war on this problem. I will immediately declare it as my enemy. I will tell myself that it has insulted me. It's dishonored me. It's absolutely just the most vile person/thing that I could think of. My absolute arch enemy. Okay, and when we do that, when we play that little game in our mind, when we play out that little scenario, when we respond like that, when we react like that, it immediately changes everything, and it's going to set you on a completely different course to how most people would react, which is, of course, the involuntary reactions that we're born with, okay? So, this can take you a few months to achieve. This can take you a few years, but it's very simple, and, that is the first step, is you're going to declare war on this problem. Okay, so this enemy of yours, this problem, whatever it may be, has broken into your metaphorical country, your castle, your fort, whatever you want to call it. It's breaking in unannounced, okay? And let's look at the concept of war a little bit more here, okay? So, if we're talking about war hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, right? It was all very primitive. The way that people would go about war is they'd have an immediate, violent response. They would charge right in there with clubs and rocks and spears and all that. But as history progressed on, war became more and more intelligent, okay? So when I say war, and when I say that I want you to apply the concept of war here, I'm talking about intelligent warfare, sophisticated warfare, patient warfare, the kind of warfare that we see in World War I onwards. That's something that people can relate to pretty easily. You don't have to have an understanding of history, to relate to the First and Second World Wars, right? So those wars were very much about intelligence, gathering intel, strategy, patience, like I said, and above all, in any war, no matter what country you are, what culture you are, you have to dedicate and you have to funnel all of your resources towards that war, okay? Of course, our war is this problem, right? Our metaphorical war. So we have to do this intelligently, we have to be patient, and we have to funnel all of our resources, okay? But we have this concept, sorry, that's the wrong word. We have this drive in the back of our mind, okay? We have this fire in the back of our mind. We have this fire in our hearts, okay? In our bellies, right? Which is that we want to kill and destroy and annihilate our enemies, okay? And it may take a long time, we may have to really, really educate ourselves on this problem. We may have to really, really reach out to a lot of different people, we have to be patient. We have to put all of our time into this. So when we have this primal drive in our hearts and in our minds to destroy and kill our enemies, which is something that we're born with, as human beings, you might think that people are inherently nice and peaceful creatures, that we're all pacifists, but really we are all born with the ability and the drive to kill, and it's flowing in our bloodstream, as I sit here and speak right now, I have it in me to be a very, very violent, So something very, very important in any war is creativity, okay? If you can unlock the creativity in your mind, it's really, really going to help you win a war, okay? And that is certainly what we see when it comes to strategy and when it comes to, all the more elaborate, sophisticated tactics that we see in warfare. So, when you look at anything that was created by human beings, okay, anything incredible, anything notable, anything highly sophisticated, right? Whether it be fighter jets or nuclear reactors, works of art as well, musical compositions. There's always a very powerful natural motivator behind it. And the two most powerful natural motivators that human beings have, especially us men, is sexual desire. We'll do all kinds of crazy stuff to impress women or to get women's attention, as far as, putting things on the moon and building all sorts of crazy things. But the other most powerful natural motivator is the desire to kill our enemies, okay, to destroy our enemies, to humiliate our enemies, just to make their lives a living hell, to destroy them and all that they are in any way that we can. Sounds evil, sounds conniving, sounds sadistic, but every human being is born with that, and it's totally primal. It's totally part of our biological programming. It's an evolutionary leftover. We're all born with it, but it definitely gets a muzzle put on it at a very young age, and we grow up in a society where we're raised to be pacifists and always have an attitude, a mental attitude of being subservient and not being aggressive and accepting things for what they are, not questioning anything. You know, there's a war going on right now against ordinary, kind, hardworking people like you and I, and the elite, we can call them, you know, the mass media. They want us to be this way, okay? They don't want us to have this fighting mentality, you know. They don't want any kind of fighting attitude. But we're going to have to find that, okay? We're going to have to look for that, okay? And I need you to look for that within yourself, okay? A great way to bring this up, a great way to reawaken this is to do some kind of martial arts. I love doing martial arts. You don't even need to go to classes for it, you know, just get some of your buddies together and, you know, spar. But that's going to help to awaken this, okay? So this problem that you have is impossible, and you're thinking that these techniques that he's talking about aren't going to help me. There's no way that it can fix my problem because it's impossible. But through wars and through these natural motivators, people have been doing impossible things for a very long time. It's been done many times. To classify something as impossible or to call something impossible is extremely dangerous when it comes out of your mouth and when you say it. Because our brains are very, very capable. They're very powerful. They aren't even close to being fully understood by science and medicine. They are very capable of making things possible and making the impossible possible. Especially once it gets fixated on a problem, it will seemingly bend the laws of reality and physics to make things possible. And we've seen it done many, many times. You know, you can look at this all throughout history, okay? But it's so dangerous when we tell ourselves, when it comes out of our mouth, that something is impossible, because our minds and our brains are equally as capable of making things impossible. And we can do it subconsciously. We can want something to be fixed, and we can want to achieve something impossible, but if we've already decided that it's impossible, then you've already subconsciously told yourself that you don't want to do it. And your brain will stick with that, it will roll with that, and it will do whatever it takes, by all means, to maintain this reality, this future that you've set up in your mind because you told yourself this is the way that it must be, this is the way that it will be, this is what people told me will happen. This is what people told me will happen, you know. So how does the brain solve impossible problems, and how does it achieve impossible things? Well, the human brain and the human mind are pretty much separate, and scientists more or less fully understand this now, and a lot of scientists agree that the human brain and the human mind is 8-dimensional. Okay, so it has 8 dimensions. It's very, very complicated. I can't fully explain it to you in this video, but to put this in a way that we can visualize, I'm going to borrow a metaphor from Carl Sagan, and the way he described it is if you have a two-dimensional world, which only has lines, okay, only has this way and this way, there's no up or down or, any, all of these elaborate things that we have in our three-dimensional world, in our three-dimensional reality. If you were to take a three-dimensional sphere, let's say it's a baseball or, something like that, and you drop it into this two-dimensional world, and there are two-dimensional beings all, around watching. When it passes through their world, what they will see is a line, and that line will slowly get bigger and bigger, and then it'll get smaller and smaller, right? Because they can only see in two dimensions. So, in their wildest imagination, with all of their smartest two-dimensional scientists, they would never be able to even come close to conceiving, to imagining what a three-dimensional being would look like. We would be like gods to them, because to a two-dimensional being, they can't see us because we're too elaborate, too complicated, too sophisticated for them to even conceive. It's like putting a Xbox 360 disc, into a PlayStation 1. It just can't read it, just can't even handle it. And so think about what I just said there. These two-dimensional beings can't even conceive what we look like, what we are, the things that we do. It's so incredible, something that they're not even capable of understanding. We are three-dimensional beings. So if our brains are eight-dimensional, then just imagine, except you can't imagine, right? But just imagine the things at play and the things we have access to, the resources that we can pull upon, the not yet fully understood capabilities that our brains have, okay? You can access the fourth dimension right now very easily, and here's how you do it. You just think of something in your mind, right? It can be anything. I'm going to think about cactus in my mind. I'm going to think about whatever, right? In the fourth dimension, all you got to do is think about something and it's there. You've created it. You fixed the problem. Let's say, your problem is that your car won't start, right? Well, go to the fourth dimension right now. You just imagine your car working, right? Of course, to do that here in the third dimension, things are not as advanced, as the fourth dimension, so everything's more dense, and to make a car work, takes a bit more. You have to move things around, and it takes, you have to reshape things, you have to adjust things, but when you do, okay, it works. Now all of this, okay, whether we're talking about 2-dimension, 3-dimension, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, whatever, they involve the most fundamental, tiny pieces of matter that make up everything in our reality, okay? Literally everything, right? And, that would be quantum particles, okay? Atoms, all that kind of stuff. But particles, okay? And quantum particles and the quantum world is also very misunderstood. It's certainly not fully understood, but a great quote that a wise man once said is that if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. But what we do know is that they are incredible, they're amazing, they bend the rules of space and time and physics and all that. They can travel across vast distances instantly. No time will have passed for them to travel light years away, and that's mind-blowing, right? It just sounds like magic, right? But these things are real. These things are happening in our universe, and in our three-dimensional reality, okay? Even though we can't see it, okay? So going back to the technique that I have, this technique that we've been talking about, war, right? Well, this is a war that we're fighting with our secret weapon, okay? And our secret weapon is what I just talked about. That's right. In our brain, in the human brain, there's something called the microtubules, and they are basically a biological quantum computer, okay? That's in our brains, all of us, we all have it. So what an extraordinary secret weapon that is, and if we believe that we have this kind of power and that we have access to these higher dimensions, all this stuff. I know it sounds crazy, by the way, but this is science. You can look it up. It's all pretty new. It's certainly isn't even close to being understood, but it gives us an answer, certainly, to why and how human beings have done impossible things. Things that shouldn't be possible. Why people with injuries have healed and they shouldn't have healed. Why people should have died and they didn't die. So, but it all goes back. The spark for this, the spark for something incredible happening and conquering this enemy and fixing your problem. It's that pinnacle moment when you choose, when you tell yourself that, hey, this is possible. I'm declaring war on this problem. This problem is my enemy, and I will win. You don't say it's impossible, and I'm not going to fix this problem, and I'm not going to win, because your brain is very, very good at obsessing on something and pulling you, okay, with an incredible force in either of those two directions of I will win, I will get what I want, and I won't win, I'm going to lose, I'm not going to get what I want, I'm going to be miserable because of whatever, right? So, think about everything that I've talked about here. Use it to your advantage, I can tell you that there are people that I know of in my life. There's people that I've seen, that I've heard about, or someone told them that something wasn't possible, or someone told them that they couldn't have something, that they weren't allowed to do something. That's the last thing that you want to tell some people. Some people hear that they can have something and that something is impossible, that they're not allowed to have something, that it shouldn't happen. And they obsess on it, and they fixate on it, and they find a way. And those cruel, miserable people that told this person, you can't achieve this, you can't have this, they look at this person after they have achieved it, and they think, wow, I don't know what it's like to want something that bad, And that's what it is, So I hope that anything that I talked about in this video helps you. I hope that whoever stumbles across this video gets some kind of benefit from it. And this is all real. I fully believe in it. I use it. I tap into it all the time. And this is something that we're all born with, okay? We're all fighters. We're all capable of saying no to our enemies. We're all capable of declaring something or someone our enemy, and lighting that fire in our brain, in our heart, and it's war, We all have it, and so I recommend that you use it. Do not listen to these people that tell you that you can't have something. Don't listen to these people that tell you that you shouldn't do something, because when you do achieve it, when you do get what you shouldn't have had, and you do achieve what you shouldn't have done, and when something happens that by all means shouldn't have happened, doesn't even make sense to other people, you'll be there, and the warm sun's going to be in your face. There's going to be fields of roses all around you, and you're just going to feel like a champion. And that moment is going to be priceless for you. if you listen to everything that I said in this video. So, God bless you and your families, and I'll see you guys in the next one.